454 games later, after 173 goals and one trophy, he's called time on his Tottenham career. He and Harry Kane hold the Premier League record for most goal combinations as duo, 47. Which of them is a bigger Spurs legend? Have a listen to Majestic and Alan Pardew on the final word.
Son or Kane, a debate that we've already had in my Spurs WhatsApp group.
Oh, you already had it?
There's a few WhatsApp groups I'm in, and Son has actually come on top very heavily.
Is that slightly emotional?
Yeah,
well, obviously the way Kane left and the way Son has left.
This is what I did want to go back at what Cass said, because he said, Harry could have went, plenty of times and he stayed for the cause. I think we often forget that Harry Kane was in a golf course with Gary Neville, basically trying to get a little bit of a move with the talking about going to Manchester City, if you remember rightly, before they bought Jack Grealish. I thought that was a bit, and that was the summer that, City came in for him. He was on a longer holiday. He didn't start the season. And again, who turned up on that first day of the season when we beat Manchester City? Heung-Min Son. Nuno's first game, we beat Manchester City at home.
I think it's hard to say that Son was a bigger, Tottenham legend than Harry Kane. And I think Alan Pardew's question was right there. There's a sentiment involved because it's in the here and now. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, no, I think there's something in that. You can't always leave clubs, even for those that you think would be absolutely revered. I mean, I remember one time, I think on this channel, Jeff, we were talking about when Harry Kane inevitably was going to move. I think there was a feeling he was going to move. Oh, well, look, there's got to be a statue of him. There's got to be this. And then the next minute, people are having a bit of a go because of the way that he kind of left, intimating that his time was sort of coming to an end. I think Harry Kane, when all things are considered, would be ahead of Son in terms of being an all-time great at Spurs. I think he would be.
Yeah. Let's get your view on this one. 03717223344 is Son the bigger legend because he stayed and won a trophy? I don't think winning a trophy's got anything to do with it. But let's get the thoughts of the former Tottenham boss, Harry Redknapp. Morning, Harry.
Morning, Harry.
Yes, Andy, good morning.
So, Harry, in your eyes, Son, a Tottenham legend?
Yeah, for sure. I think he'd be a legend. He's had an incredible career. Looks a great guy as well, absolutely fantastic professional. But Harry Kane, I'd have to be in Harry Kane's camp as a bigger legend. So, but they're both been great players. But Harry would come out on top for me.
Yeah, Harry, I mentioned to Jeff a little while ago about there was a spell where Son was so good, wasn't he? He was so dangerous whenever he got the ball, and he was, whether it's assists, whether it's his own goal scoring, his numbers are good. But he had a couple of 3 seasons where I honestly felt could have gone and played for anyone, Harry, in Europe.
Yeah, no, he was fantastic. He's been a great player, as you say, Andy, and. When you look at him, the way he seems to be, he looked like he enjoyed his football. There was never any nastiness to him. He just, the crowd loved him. He brought a lot of support to the club, to be honest. His following from Korea, it was amazing, the amount of people that turned up to watch him from his homeland, So it was a great signing, there's no doubt. And he's been a great servant to the football club. It's sad to see him go, but, everything comes to an end in the end, and he's had his time. And, Tottenham are rebuilding this year, and I think they look like they're, maybe going to get 1 or 2 more in. And I think they'll have a much better season in the league this year than they had last year, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, 10 great years as far as Son is concerned. I mean, Tottenham, obviously, pre-season's always that sort of time where as a manager, I guess you close your eyes and hope that there are no injuries. But James Maddison stretched it off against Newcastle, and it looks like a bad one. I mean, that's especially bearing in mind that they didn't get Morgan Gibbs-White. That's a massive blow for Tottenham, isn't it, Harry?
Absolutely, Jeff. I mean, Maddison, when he's fit, he's a fantastic player. He makes things happen. He's a great provider of the final pass for goals and can score as well. So it's a big loss, and it's sad for the lad. He really is an outstanding footballer. And as you say, Gibbs-White would have been perfect for him. I don't know what happened there. It looked like a bit of a mess. How that transfer all went wrong. A very strange one. But they just took, is it Polino they took from Bayern Munich, was at Fulham, and a good player.
Good player.
Yeah, a good player. So I'm sure they'll strengthen.
Yeah. What's your gut feeling, Harry, for Spurs this season? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure exactly where I think they'll end up. Obviously, they've got Champions League, a lot to consider this time round. But what's your gut feeling for them?
I think they'll finish in the top 8, Andy, this year. I mean, last year in the league was a disaster. I can see them being top 8. I think that's where they'll be. I don't see them make. Last year I was very bullish they'd make the top 4, and I was miles away. So I'm not the best judge in the world, it don't seem. But I think this year they'll certainly have a much better season in the league, and hopefully have a decent Champions League run. And who knows? Maybe the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup might be another cup competition where they might get their names on a trophy again. They've got a decent squad. You know, the new guys walked into a great situation, really. I know they won a trophy, but in terms of the league, you know, he's took over, you know, it can only get better in the league for him, and I'm sure it will.
Harry, quick word about one of your old clubs. I watched West Ham last night, thought they were pretty decent, actually. They signed Callum Wilson. You surprised by that?
If Callum stays fit, you know, he'd be an outstanding player for him. We all know he's had problems with injuries, Jeff. That's been the problem for Callum. But when he's on the pitch, he certainly is a good player. He's another good lad as well. So I'm hoping he goes there and does well. I watched the game last night. I mean, to be fair, Bournemouth could have been 2 or 3 up in the first 20 minutes or so. And Bournemouth look all right. I'm pleased to see them looking good. But hopefully a much better year for West Ham this year.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.